Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know who this is. I ain't even got to say my fucking name. All I got to say is, you know what I'm saying? It's the captain, a.k.a. Kenny Hoggins, Chief Chinchilla, Mr. Don't Holler, the 2006 Bobby motherfucking Brown without the Gumby, you know what I mean? And right now you checking out MVRemix, you know what I mean? And hey, when I'm not eating Doritos with your mama, watching old episodes of what's happening, I'm rolling with the MVRemix. So do what you gotta do, you heard?
www.mvremix.com. What do you think is the biggest misconception people have of you?
Damn, there's a lot of them shits. I'd probably say that it depends. There's personal ones, there's musical ones. I mean, I think the biggest one is that I'm unapproachable. Like, I'll be around people and they're gonna, people think that just, that I'm gonna go on a Captain Backslap rampage and, I'm gonna slap the shit out of some broad for no reason at all, and this, that, the other. But I mean, like that, that's kind of exaggerated. I mean, on the records, everything I say on the records is me, but then, you exaggerate it for entertainment value. Like, I have that in me, but it doesn't mean I'm always like that. Like, if you come up and say hello, I'm not gonna say give me $500, but like, it's just sometimes when people approach you the wrong way, you make the music as a defense mechanism. So you make records talking about, like, don't holler, get the fuck out of my face, fuck you, pay me, you know what I'm saying? And like, I've had fans like, yo, I wanted to have you sign my CD, but I didn't know if you were gonna be an asshole. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, I'm the coolest cat you ever want to meet if you approach me right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people probably think, I'm an asshole or whatever, but it's far from that, man. It just depends on the mood I'm in, and it just depends on how you approach me and shit. Mm-hmm. So because a lot of the records is based in reality, but then you blow it up to kind of make to give it entertainment value.
Does it surprise you how wholeheartedly some of your fans actually buy what you're saying straight away?
Yeah, well, maybe I'm not saying I'm smart and they're not, but I mean, like growing up, when I used to listen to a lot of these records, I mean, of course, some of these guys were really doing what they were saying, some weren't, but it never really mattered to me. Like, to me, I say this all the time, to me, records are no different than movies. Mm-hmm. I mean, records are a little more personal, like artists are more autobiographical and stuff in their music, and they try to stick close to their real life, but to me, all that shit is entertainment. When you put a CD in, for 45, 50, nowadays 90 minutes, an artist, has your attention. And when you take the CD out, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Arnold Schwarzenegger is the governor of fucking California, but in his movies for 2 hours, he's blowing people away. And then he goes home and he's a father to his kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I always look at it as entertainment. I mean, hip-hop always has that thing attached to it where it's gotta be real, kid. This is real life, kid. This is reality, kid. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, hip-hop always kind of has that, connotation that it's got to be real and 100%. And I mean, when I rap on my records, most of the time that's what I'm feeling. Most of the time it's what I'm going through. But then sometimes you got to go a little bit over the top to make it entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go to, if I go to a club and I have a miserable time, I can make a song about it, but it won't be as funny as if I did Disco Ho and I rap about my leg getting broke and this, that, the other, and how much I hate that this bitch wants me to dance. You know what I'm saying? Or if I date a girl with one kid and the kid is really annoying, that wouldn't be a funny record. But if I did Too Many Babies and we sang it and the bitch had 8 kids, it makes it funny. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So everything is grounded in truth, but then sometimes you have to, exaggerate it for entertainment purposes. You know what I'm saying? And I always looked at it as entertainment, but then a lot of kids are like, you meet kids and it's like, Jay's own, pimps don't pay taxes, where are the bitches? Like, they'll see me walking in the street by myself. Where's the bitches? You're supposed to be the pimp. Where's the bitches? You know what I'm saying? Or they'll be like, Jay-Zone, where's Lucy Lou? How the fuck am I supposed to know? You know what I'm saying? Like, and when people approach you like that, that's what makes you want to make records that are like, kind of like, defensive. Because people kind of, I never thought of it that way. I always thought of music as entertainment and fun. How I look at it, like, okay, Eazy-E may have or may not have in real life been that character, but I didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, his records were funny, and I would sit down and listen to him. Too Short maybe or maybe wasn't a real life pimp. I don't care, because his records are amazing. And when I pop him in and out, I could care less what he does in his personal life.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, kind of going from that, I don't know if you saw, but there was one straight to DVD documentary where Too Short was interviewed, and he said he doesn't see why rappers always have to be sincere because it's a form of creativity.
Yeah, it's entertainment, man. Like, it's, I understand, like, you know, the artist wants to see what your life is like, so I feel like as an artist, I give them that. But
Yeah.
and sometimes, you know, you have to put entertainment value. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, if I'm going through a rough stretch and I ain't getting no chicks and my car is looking fucked up, like, I'm just gonna totally exaggerate and come out like Baby and Manny Fresh, and be like, yo, I got a Pinto, but it got 97-inch rims on it, you know, and I got 3 bitches, but they're all 500 pounds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, to me, it's entertainment. Like, at the end of the day, I come home, I take care of my grandmother, I watch Sports Center and a basketball game, and I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, people think that the rap, and then you get caught up where you kind of feel like you have to live the life that you rhyme, but that's not what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is me. Like, I really am a cheap bastard. Like, I hate spending money. I hate going out to clubs. I get drunk off of like one drink and start thinking nasty looking bitches look good. I really have, you know, I had a piece of shit car. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love basketball. Like, all my records are grounded in truth, but then sometimes just to make the records enjoyable, you gotta go over top a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Celph might have a fixation with like artillery, but he's not gonna take a rocket launcher and aim it at your house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's a difference. You know, they get grounded in truth. The guy is into missiles and shit like that. Like, he likes that kind of shit. Like, he's fascinated by that. But he's not gonna walk out in broad daylight with a cannon. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I feel like a lot of people just have to learn how to draw the line between entertainment and, you know, this, that, the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not even like I'm getting on records and being totally false. Like, I'm saying, like, I'm some crazy drug dealer, or, you know, I'm a killer and I kill all these different people. But, you know, I just take my life and I stretch it, and I'll admit it in a heartbeat when I'm exaggerating. You know what I'm saying? And 90% of my records are truth exaggerated. So, you know,
which of the two of you, or maybe both of you, how did the Boss Hog Barbarians concept come about?
For that reason. Like, we both love the same kind of shit.
Okay.
And we kind of got, you know, they kind of just pigeonholed us as, like, East Coast, boom bap, underground New York hip-hop guys. You know what I'm saying? So when we met each other, you know, we were like, yeah, I know you. You know, we met kind of through Bud's distribution and through Apathy, and we would see each other out. We'd be talking like, yeah, J-Zone, bottle of Whup Ass. Like, yeah, Celph Titled, you know, Windows 98, yeah. You know, we were just, you know, talking regularly. And then one day, you know what I'm saying, like, I just, you know, we started talking about, like, some simple gangster shit everybody knows, like NWA. We were at a CMJ meeting, a CMJ conference, like a music conference, and all of a sudden, you know, I just started naming some obscure hip-hop shit. And he's like, yo, I'm from Florida. I'm like, yo, you heard of Poison Clan? He's like, yo, that's my group. And then we went on, like, we had, like, a 4-hour conversation about we just started pulling out all this obscure gangster shit. He was like, yo, I didn't think anybody in underground rap knew about this shit. And I was like, I'm the same. And, you know, for, like, years, we didn't even do music. We were just friends, and we would call each other and be like, yo, man, I found a SIBO CD, you know, or E40 CD before he was on, you know, Jive. It was just a straight Sick With It independent. I'd be like, oh, word? And I'm like, yo, did you hear the Tweety Bird Loke album? We would start trading CDs and tapes, and, you know, it was getting crazy. And then, you know, when I was working on Sick of Being Rich, I reached out to him to get on the album, and then, you know, I started giving him beats. We started just doing songs together, and then I had him on the last album, Jobbing Nothing But Work, and, you know, people were like, yo, you guys sound good together, and we had the same, you know, we appreciate the same kind of music. So one day, you know, I was like, man, I just finished Jobbing Nothing But Work. I had no projects planned. I was like, listen, man, I'm about to put out a remix album, but after that, I'm not doing nothing. And he was like, yo, man, I'm not doing nothing either. You know, he's like, he was working on a solo album. It was taking him forever. You know, but I knew that if me and him worked on a project, like, I'm such a workaholic, I would get him to complete it. So I was like, yo, let's just do an album, you know, kind of give the people what we're known for, but let's just do it with a twist. Let's just do it on some Hog shit. And, like, Hog is just like that, the heavy bass sounds, you know, just funky ass beats, pimped out shit. And let's just go over the top and totally pen and pixel the shit the fuck out and OD. Because, you know, neither of us, we were both just frustrated with the hip-hop scene. It was really stagnant. All of our fans wanted us to go back to shit we were doing 8 years ago. We were just both kind of frustrated. He was like, fuck it, if we're going to go out, let's go out all the way and make a record that's a total 180 from music For Tu Madre and Gods Must Be Crazy and Windows 98 and Compatible and all that shit. I was like, yo, let's do a record that's totally opposite and kind of do like pay homage to the shit that we all like that people don't seem to know that we like. And we were like, we're going to just, fuck everybody's heads up, so we did it. You know what I mean?
How long did the album take in total to record?
It took, I bought it up in the summer of 2004, like right before Jobbing Up But Word came out. The single, Spoil Rotten, was the B-side to my first single from that album, and, we were reading reviews of the single, like everybody's like, yo, these guys should be a group. So I called them up and I told them, I told them like, yo, let's just do this. And we were like, bet. So, right when the album came out, like September, October, I just sent him a B CD, and I was like, start picking from these, and he sent me a couple of beats, and he was like, pick these. And then, from that first exchange, we got maybe about, 5 songs done. And then, I went on tour, came back, and I was like, then after that, it wasn't no more B CDs. It was just like, we were coming up with concepts. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, he would make a beat to match a concept. I would make a beat to match a concept. We were just sending shit through the mail like, yo, I want to do this song about, because he likes thick chicks, and, I'll be making fun of thick chicks, so let's do a record about it. I made a beat that matched. I sent it to him. He was like, yeah, let's do it. We were just doing it on a song-for-song basis. So we really started like, September 2004, and we finished the final mix of that album in November 2005. So a year and 2 months, 14 months total, everything.
And now that the record is complete, do you reckon you'll be doing any sort of follow-up Boss Hog Barbarian albums, or is this sort of a one-off?
It was sort of, I would love to, because I had a blast. Like, this album, we just didn't give a fuck, and I really had I would love to, but I don't know what Celph has planned. Like, I know he had a solo project, he was doing stuff with Ab, he's getting into other endeavors and shit, outside of music. Like, he's busy doing a lot of things, so, there's nothing on the table, but, and I can't say that, I don't see there really being a follow-up. It was kind of a one-off idea, but, I would love to. Like I always say, 2 people I would love to do a whole album with that I know are Celph Titled and Al She. Those are 2 guys that I would love to do full-length records with. And, it's just, but those guys have their own thing. I'm not going to disrespect it. They have other things going on. So, in the meantime, I'm just trying to focus on me afterwards.
Cool. Now, a few days ago, everyone knows what happened. 3-6 Mafia won an Oscar. Is this a good or bad thing?
That's a good thing, man. Come on.
I'm kind of mixed. I'm really kind of mixed. Because I really like... I interviewed Juicy J just before he did it. And he's a really nice guy, and I like the music and everything. But the Oscars, it's hard out here for a pimp, just seems completely out of place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my only beef is that I thought Whoop That Trick should have won the Oscar because it was a way better song.
And on top of that, I know they wrote the song, but Terrence Howard was the one that performed it.
Yeah.
And he's the one that the single went out with, So it was just kind of odd, but...
Yeah, I can definitely see that, but I'm a huge Hypnotized Minds fan.
Uh-huh.
And, like, as everybody knows, Project Pat is in my top 5 rappers of the moment. So, like, the good thing is that they're finally getting their just due. Like, they were always a regional hit in Memphis, and they even caught on big when they signed the Loud and stuff. And they've had hits, but now, like, they're just... I always like it, even if you don't like their music, you gotta respect that somebody who started independent. Like, I got Project Pat CDs that were just straight, like the Murderers and Robbers EP was just independent, like out the trunk. And you can hate Cash Money or No Limit them all you want, but those guys worked their way up, man.
Oh, definitely.
Like, I'm from New York and I'm proud of it, but I'd hate to sound like a traitor, but it's like, while New York rappers are running around saying, please listen to my demo, these dudes were getting doors slammed in their face saying, fuck it, pressing the CDs themselves, and, locking down their territory, doing crazy numbers. And the majors came. You don't have to like their music, but you gotta respect them dudes. Like, that's why Boss Hog, we pressed this ourselves. This ain't on no label. Yeah. We're pressing the CDs ourselves on Mount Killer Ho Hog Cabin Records, and we're getting distribution, and we're shipping it out ourselves. And it's like, I'm a huge supporter of anybody who comes up independent and gets a payday. Talk bad about Cash Money all you want. I remember when they were putting out albums by Pimp Daddy and UNLV and all that crazy shit, and just selling in the South. And Master P was putting out Mama's Bad Boy and Getaway Clean and all that shit through intermittent distribution, and then he got his deal, you know what I'm saying? And New York rappers are like, please listen to my demo, and then getting on, getting on labels and getting shelved, can't clear the samples, going through all that crap, you know what I'm saying? They just become playground legends. Fuck that. I mean, those dudes took their shit in their own hands, and I hope they get a fucking presidency nomination.
Yeah, it's just phenomenal. I mean, when you go from one day only hearing their album when you see it in an obscure little mom and pop store to the next day seeing 3 6 Mafia on Ellen. It's just a really crazy transformation between the two, but it's pretty exciting for them.
It's apples and oranges, but Atmosphere did the same thing.
Oh yeah.
And like, I mean, it's totally different music, but I mean, people say what they want. I respect them dudes, man, because they started with nothing, and they did shows and tours in places that I wouldn't even walk into. Mm-hmm. And they got into a car and drove around and built their fan base. And you can say what you want about all these people's music, but anybody who just hustles and takes their fate and takes it into their own hands, like that's how I came out. My first 2 records, I pressed myself. I didn't even have a barcode, no 12-inch single, no video, no guest appearance. You know what I'm saying? No posters, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that independent attitude, man. Like I respect that. Like all these other regions, New York was always spoon-fed first. So all these other dudes, like the Bay Area, Miami, New Orleans, Memphis, Houston, all these places that are they all had to do it themselves first. And that's why, say what you want about the music, but I respect the shit out of all of them dudes that came up hustling. Because, everybody in New York was too busy looking for a damn deal. And then when they get jerked, they get mad at the label.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so from a business standpoint, I respect them dudes. And even musically, like, I love 3-6. You know what I'm saying? And Hypnotize Minds. So I think that was a good victory. And fuck all that hate. They deserve it. They deserve their respect.
Yeah. So what about the production you've been doing recently? Because I saw on your site that you mentioned how you've done some stuff for Dell and A+ and Tha Alkaholiks. How did they come up?
Well, the Alkaholiks, I've always had that connection, because I worked with J-Ro in the past. But that came through Danger Mouse and his management, Waxploitation. They have the same manager as the Licks. So I did like 2 remixes for the Flute song. They haven't come out yet, but I'm cool with all those guys over there. E Swift, so that's how that happened. Hiero's been supporting me, for the last couple of years, man. They come for me. I did the single for Casual's last album, and they got really good feedback. And I work really quickly. Like when they send me a Pro Tools session, I'll turn it around in a week. Cause and they're another. Just like I said, I like working with Hiero because I respect them. They came out on Jive and Elektra respectively. They sold their little niche audience and stuff, toured like hell, and they got dropped by the majors. But instead of folding into a ball or signing another bullshit deal, they came out independent and did it themselves. And like I love and respect dudes that just take over the game. And they were doing independent when nobody was doing independent. You know what I'm saying? Who was doing this kind of hip hop? Like they were amongst the first in terms of like this style of hip hop. So I respect their hustle, their ethic. They put out good music. So Hiero, working with Dell, A+, Casual, I mean, they're really good people, you know what I'm saying, and they support what I do. And I try to work with people who have who think in the same box, and people who make the kind of music that I like, and people who support what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like when I send them BCDs, they pick shit that they like. It's not like when you. And also, I think a lot of reason I have success with some of these other people is that they didn't pigeonhole me. Like a lot of times I send people beats and they're like, do you have anything like Candy Razors? Do you have anything like No Consequences? Do you have anything with an accordion like Orphan Babies? You know what I'm saying? But these guys probably never even heard my old shit, so they have nothing to say, I want something. They have no measuring stick. They just hear what they like. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool to shop for people that you've never shopped before, because they just pick what they like. It's not like they have this set picture in their mind of what a J-Zone beat is supposed to sound like, and everybody wants a beat just like that. So, they allow me to be me and give the kind of beats that I want to give, and they like the music, and that's the important part.
And as sort of a result of your success with production, have you had many major labels approach you trying to sign you for a production deal?
I got approached for an artist deal.
Okay.
But like I said, I make more money doing it independent. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm not really, I don't want to be a major label artist. You know what I'm saying? I want to do things my way. I'm hard-headed. I'm stubborn. I'm going to do shit how I want. No one's telling me shit. And, so that's out. In terms of production, I mean, I've gotten, not from labels, I mean, I've submitted beats to labels. That's a nightmare, because unless you have a hit that's on the charts, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But I've had artists on major labels approach me for beats, and I gave it to them. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like you deal with their management. I was on tour, and somebody told me that Little Fame had heard some stuff I did for Akinyele, and he wanted a beat CD. And I wouldn't be back home for another 2 weeks. And then I came back 2 weeks later, and I couldn't get it to him directly. Like, I had to go through a lot of different people, and long story short, I don't even think he got the CD. So, I think I would have a chance with major artists if I got a chance to sit down and play for them. But then, when the labels and the managers and the A&Rs get involved, like, your chances become slim to none. So until I do a chart-topping hit, or until somebody, wants to take a chance on me, like, I'm pretty much stuck in this spot. So that's why I try to work with artists like Tha Alkaholiks or Akinyele, like somebody who might be, somebody who people, a major artist might listen for and hear, and then they'll come and get me. You know what I'm saying? Like, doing shit for Hiero is great for that, because I got people who approach me for beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I heard the shit you did for Casual. You know what I'm saying? And before that, it was like you can't get that when you only do shit for yourself. So, I don't really care much for freelance producing nowadays, because it doesn't pay that much, and then a lot of the artists you don't like, but the artists that we have just spoken about are all guys that I like what they do, and working with them is going to help me get to another level. So I like freelancing beats for those kind of guys.
Is there any sort of confirmed area where your stuff with Dell's going to appear?
The stuff with Dell?
Yeah.
I'm still. I mean, he 2-tracked to one of my beats, and they emailed it to me, and it sounds dope. But he never. I'm still waiting for them to send the final session. Like, it's taking him a while to finish his album.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know when his album is coming out. I don't know. Like what the details are. But right now, as it stands, I'm waiting for the Pro Tools session, so I can put the sequence the beat and mix it. I finished a couple of A+ tracks already, but the Dell ones, I'm still waiting on the vocals.
Yeah, because last time I spoke with Dell about his 11th Hour album was like in 2003.
Yeah.
And there's been hype going on ever since, and it just keeps getting more and more delayed. So.
Yeah, like, it's just, they sent the 2-track that they did, they sent me, I believe that was in September or October. And, I'm still waiting for because he apparently did the vocals over, so I'm waiting for the Pro Tools session, So, I mean, it's, just playing the waiting. Some people take longer than others to execute, so.
Yeah, yeah. Which would you say have been the most influential movies to you?
In terms of my life or my career?
Really, I think a mixture of the two.
Not necessarily my favorite, just the most influential?
Yeah.
Wow. My favorite and most influential movie, all around my favorite, straight up favorite movie ever, is Hollywood Shuffle.
Okay.
By Robert Townsend. Because the movie is, for those who haven't seen it, the movie is about stereotypes that black actors get in Hollywood. And, the movie is just about a struggling actor that keeps getting casted, to do like these pimps and, hustlers and jive talk and shit. And, he's trying to get he wants to play like a Superman or something. And the movie is just broken down into a series of skits and mini movies. The way it's arranged, it's the movie version of what Death Certificate or America's Most Wanted would be, or Fear of a Black Planet. It's just got skits, and it's got a theme and a concept, and it's flawless the way it's put together. And I always wanted to make, if it makes sense, I always wanted to make an album that flowed like that movie. So throughout my career, I kind of used it as a blueprint. And not to mention, he bankrolled that movie out of his pocket on his own credit card, and then sold it to a movie company. The actors got paid barely anything. It was Damon Wayans' first movie. It was John Witherspoon's first movie. It was Keenan Ivory Wayans' first movie. A lot of these actors and stuff were in there that had never been in anything before, you know, and they went on to blow up later on, you know what I'm saying? So, like, his whole situation, how he couldn't get a deal for the movie, he did it himself. It was like a creative process, like, and just the whole approach to Hollywood Shuffle was like how I try to do my albums and how I see my career. Like, that's just my favorite movie all around. And then besides that, I would have to say Baller Blocking by the Cash Money Millionaires. It's only an hour and 20 minutes, but it's just so ignorant, dead wrong. Like when Turk shoots the mailman in broad daylight because he brought the welfare check late. Shit like that is just cinematic genius. And like after I saw that movie, I aspired to like it's a great movie, man. Baller Block and I'm Bout by Master P, another great movie because he just came out of pocket and did some independent letterbox, low budget shit. And I just love that low budget, do it yourself, independent pimping shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a high budget, big fancy dude. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit that appeals to me is just the unheralded, independent, low budget shit. You know, and just with a lot of balls and a lot of attitude. You know what I'm saying? And those movies all represent that.
Definitely. Have you seen Fight Club?
Nah. Fight Club?
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out a long time ago though, right?
Yeah, it came out I think 98 or 99.
Yeah, I saw it in 01. I can't remember much about it, but I did see it though.
Well,
I rented it.
Basically, I got this question which I always ask in interviews, and it's a joke question, which is, a la Fight Club, if you could fight any celebrity, who would you fight? And I've had answers from Gary Coleman to Schwarzenegger, Star Jones, just loads of different
Star Jones, that's fucked up.
Yep. Juice, Chicago's Juice basically said he would fight Star Jones.
Wow. He might lose. Juice is my man, but he might lose that.
So if J-Zone had to fight any celebrity, who would you fight?
I would fight Paris Hilton.
Why?
Because she's a dirty freak, and if I smack the shit out of her, she might want to blow me.
Not bad. Do you reckon you'd win the fight, though?
Yeah, what does she weigh, like 18 pounds? I'll kill that bitch.
So what are you next working on musically?
This is a good question, man. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of like in an odd spot in my career because every year there was no question. I was in the studio doing an album. But now, for like the first time in my career, it's like I'm not really working on any J-Zone solo material. Like, I can't make a conscious effort to do a J-Zone album. It has to happen. Like, I'll wake up one day and the ideas will start pouring. But I haven't had the motivation to do a J-Zone album. Boss Hog, just came out. And at the moment, like, I'm just like doing like a lot of stuff for television and movies, like, music, like TV commercials and shit. Mm-hmm. And I'm making a lot of beats, which I haven't done. I've never had a beat CD with more than 12 beats on it in my life till recently. Now I got like 30 just because I'm not using the beats for anything. So, I got a couple of production endeavors going on. I might start a production team with some people, but I can't really speak on it now because we're doing the paperwork. But, a couple of high-profile producers. I'm probably the lowest profile out of all of them. We're thinking about doing a production team, but I can't really speak much on it. I'm thinking of some kind of album to do, some kind of full-length project where I don't have to involve many people because people are unreliable, and at the end of the day, it's hard to work with people because everybody has different motives, different work schedules, and that's why I always enjoy doing my albums because people come through, drop their verse, and leave, and then I can work and be a hermit, and that's what I like to do. And Boss Hog was a challenge because of that. We're working 50-50. Celph is a night owl. I'm an early bird. But it was a great challenge. But for now, I'm just looking for something that I can put my own time into. And I'm still brainstorming, man. Like, I think it's just gonna come when I'm not thinking about it. So in the meantime, I'm just doing beats, trying to promote Boss Hog, and doing like